Hi guys, Penny Rose Journals, how you doing? Okay, here we are with our silicone mat and our 50/50 PVA water glue mix again. We are going to make some interesting paper. I am going to use this very pristine, never been opened sewing pattern. I'm going to cut it apart like an absolute heathen. Don't worry, it is secondhand. I was just fortunate enough to find a bunch of them that had not been used. This does not have a packet. I do not know what it is. I'm not about to make a piece of clothing with it, so I am going to cut it apart and use it today. Most of the time when I do this sort of thing, I'm using scraps of this sort of material, tissue, napkins, obviously the sewing tissue, yeah, anything like that will do. All the previous ones that I've made have been made with scraps. I'm just running low on scraps because I've been making a few lately. Okay, the piece I have cut here is basically big enough to cover most of my mat and then fold over onto itself again and basically cover its entire self. So that's what I was trying to achieve, a piece that was the most efficient use of my mat. Now we're going to use these sticks. These sticks are the sides of the brown paper bags when I cut the bases out. And it's time to do something with some of them because, well, I've got quite a few. Well, I had quite a few. I've made a few pieces of this paper recently. So I don't have so many now, but in 2 minutes time that bag will be full again because I'll cut apart a bunch of paper bags and there will be a big pile of sticks again. So being as I have done a few of these lately, mostly I do them outside so I don't film it. I thought I would come to my desk and do one for you so that I could show you what I'm doing. So at least give you some idea what to do with your sticks if you happen to be mad enough to keep them. So what I'm basically going to do is make a lattice here. Now this sort of works in varying degrees. I think if you soaked your brown paper in water or something first, so that it was also porous, it tends to not sort of soak up the glue and stuff when it's dry like this. So but if you did soak it prior to putting it down like this, it would be harder to handle, but I think it would work much better as far as sort of sandwiching the brown paper sticks inside this tissue, which is what we're trying to achieve basically. We want to mold this into one piece of paper. Now, as I say, it works with varying degrees. Because the brown paper doesn't absorb the water like the tissue does. Sometimes it will allow the tissue to reach and stick to each other. Sometimes it won't. Sometimes it pops up during the drying process and you get big sort of air bubble gaps in between. Yeah, I try not to let that happen, but it does, and I am not prepared to soak my little pieces of brown paper first because they will be very, very difficult to handle, and I just don't have the patience for that. So this is the way I do it. And when I do bring it in, if it hasn't sort of stuck to itself sufficiently, which is usually the case, to be honest, I will take it to the sewing machine and sew up and down these little sticks, and yeah, then I have a lot of sewing over the top of this as well, which sort of just adds to the texture as far as I'm concerned. So, but anyway, this is just the way I do it. like everything else, it's not the be-all, end-all, or the way to do it, or, you know, definitely this is an idea, and it's an idea you can run off with and do your own thing. But this is what I do, and I will just keep on putting more glue on it to try and get that brown paper to sort of soak it up a bit. This little piece has escaped. I'm just going to lay over a scrap of this tissue and glue it down. So anyway, let's glue all of this. Okay, that's it. That's basically done. Now it just needs to dry. Now I'm not going to bring this piece back and show you at the end. I will just show you some of the ones I have done over the last few days. So I'll move this out of our way, and then I will bring in some of the ones that I have done previously and show you. So this is what they look like. Yeah, you can see through them, and yeah, like I say, they stick together with varying degrees. Now this is what they look like after I have sewn on them. I sewed over this one in white thread. You could use whatever colour you'd like. I just happen to have white in my machine. So I have just sewn up and down each of these sticks, making a sewn lattice as well. So yeah, I really like this stuff. I use it quite often as a sort of background piece. I tend to sort of tear it apart and then just snip through the threads if they don't immediately break, and yeah, just use it to add a bit more texture to the background of whatever I'm sort of dressing up. So what I will do is I'll grab a couple of those blanks that we made the other day with the masterboard. I cut them apart, we made a couple of tags, and there was a few left, so I'll grab a couple of those and we will make a couple more tags, and I'll just use a piece of this on it to show you how I would use it. Now I'm just going to staple this little cluster together and then stick it down. You could definitely glue this. You know, if you've been around my channel for long enough, you'll know that I'm quite partial to staples. I like them, so I have no desire to cover this up once I've stapled it. I like the staple on it, so yeah, I will now glue this to my card. But yeah, if you're not really into staples, feel free to just glue things down. That's all good. I should have, before I glued this on, probably rounded the corners. I managed to round the corners afterwards, and I think about it actually. I think I really should have done that before I put the cluster on, but it works out fine, and then I promptly go and do another one and do exactly the same thing. I forget to round the corners first, but luckily it again all works out fine. So we'll get a couple of these done and sewn around, and yeah, that's how I would use this. This is quite a small scale sort of use of it, but I have used it on the front of book covers and whatnot before as well. It just makes an interesting sort of background piece, adds a bit of texture, and yeah, I really kind of like it, and it doesn't take too long to make, and you could basically sandwich anything in between tissue like this, threads, little confetti pieces of paper, just bits of wool, whatever you have lying around. Just makes some interesting paper, and honestly, if you went and bought paper that looked a bit like this, it would cost you a lot of money. So why not just make it with the junk that's around you? And here they are, a couple of tags just made with a little bit of stick paper. Yeah, just another interesting layer, another interesting texture. So anyway, guys, run off, make your own stick paper with whatever you've got, and have a great day. Thanks for spending time with me today. I appreciate your company, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.